At Zenni, we believe everyone deserves access to high-quality, affordable eyewear. That's why we offer stylish prescription glasses for men, women, and kids starting at just $6.95. Our online factory direct model cuts out the middlemen, so you save. At Zenni, you get the same quality frame and lens options that you'd get from an optician for 1/10 of the price, including blue blockers, progressives, prescription sunglasses, and more. The best part? Try on any frame, anywhere with our 3D virtual try-on. Zenni.com. Eyewear for everyone.
Start the new year right during the Xfinity Hello 2021 sales event. For a limited time, get Xfinity Internet and mobile together for only $35 a month for 12 months with a 1-year agreement. And mobile with our 1 gig wireless data option. Plus, get $250 back. This sale ends soon, so visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store today. Internet offer requires paperless billing and autopay. Ends 1/11/21. Restrictions apply. New performance starter plus internet customers only. Equipment taxes, regulatory recovery, and other fees extra and subject to change. After term regular rates apply.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
MyBookie presents Shake Them Ropes. Get your deposit matched up to $1,000 by using the code ROPES. Jeff Hawkins, Chris Novembrino, Bobo the Wonder Monkey producing yet again. What?
Bobo the Wonder Monkey.
Yeah, sure, why not? Let's add another character to the show.
Okay.
Bobo the Wonder Monkey.
Yes, and Bobo the...
Oh, no, he's mad. He's mad. Get away from him.
He's very angry. He's an angry monkey, that Bobo.
My dreams of turning this into a morning zoo will someday come to fruition.
We have my bookie and we have my Bobo.
Yes. Well, Bobo does like to bet on the ponies and the football games a little bit, and he would like to use
that code. That's why Bobo works here.
That's why Bobo works here, exactly.
Most monkeys are not heinously in debt and thusly don't need jobs, but Bobo does.
Yeah, I don't have anything banal to talk about at the start of the show, so it was one of those things where, you kind of want to work some banter in there before you get to the wrestling, but, I had nothing. Do you got anything? Give me something.
Don't worry about the government celebrating 500 shows this week. Like, we taped the 500th one. So, that's cool.
Okay. Yeah.
But, right. What's the story beyond that? Go and listen to the show. But, I think that's really that's my big sort of news.
I'll ask you something, because this is wrestling related, and I've had strong opinions in the DMs about this. Do you like that 7K camera that they're using?
On which show?
I know they're using it on SmackDown. I forget if they're using it on Raw. For the entrances that make it look like it's almost like a video game type of thing.
Oh, I don't have a strong opinion on it. I don't really like the way, I think WWE's whole product is too bright, so it probably is more of that Kevin Dunn shiny glossy thing that I don't like.
Yeah, I'm mixed, because I don't mind it as much as other people do. I appreciate them trying new things, though, and using the latest in technology. Now, I think the technology was probably a waste of money, but...
I find they use the latest in technology in kind of boring ways.
Yes.
It's like
they
go out of
outside the box.
Yeah, no, and in my other kind of big passion of guitar or whatever, there's always new cool pedals and stuff coming out, right? But spending a lot of money, and you certainly always can when it comes to guitar electronics, doesn't necessarily mean that you end up with a cool final product in your guitar signal necessarily if you don't know how to use those things in really interesting ways.
Yeah, it's like the kid who buys a really expensive computer to play games, or, not to play games, but no, he buys a, really expensive computer with memory cards and graphics cards, and then just uses it for email.
Yeah, right. It goes online and surfs the internet, mostly. But it does have, when you turn it on, it does have the very cool LEDs that he can change the color of his mood.
Right, Bobo? What's our first story? No, I'm not going to do the... No, I'm not doing the monkey character. Hank Aaron passed away today at the age of 86. Perhaps the greatest baseball player ever. It reminds me, though, I was watching the home run call by Vin Scully when he broke Babe Ruth's record. Today's color commentators and play-by-play guys, they talk way too much. He just let the moment linger, as opposed to, say, if it was NXT, Vic Joseph would be talking my ear off about how he hit such a great home run. But there's a wrestling connection with Hank Aaron. Hank Aaron was the man who in 1990, I want to say 3, it might have been 2, but 1993 got Bill Watts fired from WCW in what I remember as one of the first big wrestling scandals to hit the internet when I was in the early days of Rec Sport Pro Wrestling. Watts had given an interview. I don't know if you're aware of this interview. Have you heard of the Bill Watts interview with Wade Keller from PW Torch?
No, I guess not.
Well, it started out as an interview and then turned into a political rant. And as someone who has not thought deeply about certain positions, perhaps, or what one should say in public, Bill Watts said some things that one should not say ever. I'll
Did
try
he
and clean
express
it.
views on race?
Yes, he did. As a matter of fact,
I bet that went well.
well, that is how he got fired from his job. He also expressed some feelings on homosexuality, which probably didn't go over well with Wade Keller, I'm guessing, at that time, even though I don't believe Wade was out at the time. But nevertheless, let's put it this way, Chris. And I think you can have an appreciation for this. It started out as a poorly worded, shall we say, libertarian argument about if I own a business, I should be able to discriminate. And it went downhill from there.
Right. Because it started off as that, and then it was also, I am a bigot.
Yeah, I don't, Watts famously pushed JYD at the top of his territory. So this was not, that doesn't not make him a bigot. Let's put it this way. This was right, and to give a little bit more time context, this was right as the Marge Schott incident happened with the Cincinnati Reds, where she expressed some
Right.
dignified views on race as well. Well, what happened was Watts gives this interview, and then there's a great write-up of it in Deadspin by our friend David Bixenspan, if you want to read it there. But he goes into roots. He goes into he's saying certain homosexual epithets that he should, but hey, it's my business. I should be able to hire and fire who I want. And so Mark Madden, yes, that Mark Madden, saw an interview about Hank Aaron about this Marge Schott controversy. He goes, "Oh, hey, Hank, have you heard this interview with the torch that old Bill Watts did?" And Hank Aaron, being the vice president of Turner Sports at the time, said, "Why no, Bill? Why no, Mark? I have not heard this interview." And so then they heard the interview, and then Bill Watts, sort of unpopular in the locker room already because wrestling had passed him by the time he came back from running UWF to run WCW. He of the no mats on the outside.
Mats on the outside.
No moves from the top rope.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of anachronisms happening on WCW television that were, even when we're looking back retrospectively, they feel dated now, like in 1992. I don't quite know how to put a point on that concept.
Well, as I was watching wrestling in 1992, I can explain to you why these were outdated. It was because there had been a push in the industry for smaller, faster guys, especially after, the Great Buddha had rocked the company for 2 or 3 years. And so you had Brian Pillman and Brad Armstrong and guys of that nature. They were trying to build a cruiserweight division while saying you can't come off the top rope.
And over on the WWF product, guys like the Rockers and Shawn Michaels getting a singles run at that point. Like, you were having people who could fly around a little bit, and that was accepted, even on WWF television.
But yeah, Hank Aaron, I couldn't fully appreciate him because I wasn't alive really during his run. I got to see him on some home run derbies, and always just a great ambassador for the game, and also for Turner Sports. So rest in peace to one Hammerin Hank. This was one that set you off earlier. Per our friends over at Fightful, Mr. Sean Ross Sapp reporting WWE talent were informed via their talent relations app recently that they would not be receiving a COVID-19 vaccine through WWE, and that was their own responsibility to schedule and get said vaccine. This surprised several WWE talent that they were expecting this to be set up through WWE, while others that we spoke to figured because of the nature of their status as independent contractors that would end up this way. There was a ton of frustration among talent that we've spoken to who noted there are influential people near the top of WWE who actively speak against COVID. In the days since Drew McIntyre's announcement, several other names behind the scenes have also tested positive for COVID. I will let you speak on this.
Yeah, so I mean, first, we speculated last week that based on the booking patterns of that Raw and that SmackDown, that it seemed as though COVID was hitting the roster yet again harder than they were letting on. And that is very much the case. But with WWE, I mean, let's just do the history lesson here real quickly. So it starts off, COVID-19 becomes a known thing during February and going into March of 2020. And during March of 2020, America starts making the adjustments to COVID-19, and a lot of things shut down, rightly so. Vince McMahon, because of his relationship now with the former administration and also his relationship with the governor of the state of Florida, gets an exemption for WWE, an exemption that many other organizations would have absolutely loved to have gotten, but Vince is able to get that. But the premise of that exemption, if you believe that truly we need the essential content that WWE makes, by the way, Jeff, I just wish that DeSantis had included some sort of stipulation that required them to actually have good television product. That if the show's kind of crappy, we shut you down. But that was not that was not the case. I'm telling you, I want this thing means.
You pop Bobo on the Wonder Monkey. He's laughing hysterically.
Yeah. I want that means tested. So, anyways, you have this exemption made for WWE. And implicit in that exemption, if you go with it then, is that WWE's programming is essential. Now, I get that people laugh at that premise, but you have to just go with it. If it is essential then, if WWE's workers are essential, the onus is on WWE, the organization, whether it's employees or independent contractors. And in the case of taking care of your employees, many of the people on site are not independent contractors, right? You've got cameramen and other people who are actually working as employees. Part of taking care of your employees is making sure that you limit those essential, in air quotes, employees' exposure to COVID-19. And the best way to do that, the only way to do that, is by making sure that there is a regime to ensure that all of your organization is getting access to vaccines. Beyond that, it's kind of asinine to be like, oh, you're going to be required to get the vaccine. And so you're going to have some sort of oversight thing that mandates to people that you go and get the vaccine, but you're not actually going to provide to them any of the means or the resources to your independent contractors to get access to the vaccine. And for the people who are like, well, we were independent contractors, and so we sort of expected that. Yeah, but that's also a commentary on what you expect out of World Wrestling Entertainment, the company. Because not every independent contractor in America for every organization would look at the organization they're independent contracting with at that point and necessarily expect that they wouldn't get a vaccine. Some organizations are more responsible in a more succinct way. And WWE has time and again been an extremely bad faith actor when it comes to COVID-19. So I got to tell you, Jeff, I'm not optimistic about their odds of getting the award this year for continuing excellence in COVID-19 safety.
Here is where I may differ with you. We went on you came along, but I did this. I went on a bit of a rant last week about the knuckleheads within the organization who are going out to restaurants and having parties and acting like nothing's wrong. You have a company who, when the hammer came down on them about running shows during this pandemic, paid for the infrastructure to have all their employees tested on the way in to tapings to keep everybody safe. Why not just say, okay, everybody on all three brands, come on down to the Performance Center on next Wednesday. As you come in, we're going to give you your first dose.
Yep.
And then come back next Wednesday, we're going to give you the second dose. And then all's good in the hood.
I completely agree. And I'm with you. I think I don't disagree that there is also an issue that should not be as I get that WWE is a bad employer. They are a bad organization in many ways, but there are many talent, and you and I basically are in agreement on this, who have been irresponsible on this. I'm looking at you, Ricochet. And they have not necessarily been the most proactive about their own health, but more importantly, the health of others, people that they work with. And, you know, if you sideline someone because of COVID-19, you're hurting their earning potential. It's just irresponsible. And so I think that the right action here would be for WWE to do what you suggested. And moreover, if they actually set up the regime at one point for testing, it's sort of asinine that they're not now transitioning to vaccination, right? Like you know, so you're going to still test?
It would seem in the long run that this would serve them, because then everybody's inoculated. And then if the knucklehead crew decides to have a house party, we're not losing half of our Royal Rumble card.
Or our WrestleMania card.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, looking on the horizon here to open up the newspaper pages, there is a mutation strand of COVID-19 that...
Oh, God. It's Captain Trips. We're all going to go.
Well, you know, so I'm getting news from, like, WDSU and, like, all these news sources all over the country, and I was seeing Chicago's already starting to brace for the mutated strand that we're seeing over in the United Kingdom to be here and be one of the more dominant strains by March. That's right around the time of WrestleMania. So if you're Vince McMahon, you're thinking about your WrestleMania card, it behooves you to have your roster with the least amount of exposure to COVID-19 so that you don't have to do these weird rebooking procedures where Keith Lee has to wrestle 5 matches in one night.
You know, before the show, I was thinking I was going to start off by saying I need to use the word behooves more. So
I got myself a word of the day calendar for 2021 here, and it's been behooves for the last several days.
We haven't changed. Is it
I'm
every
still
day is
processing.
behooves? Is it 365 behooves in a row that you're
I got to the 12th here, and this was one that I really wanted to think on. So I'll do some catching up.
It's literally a word a day, but it's the same word every day.
Yeah, behooves.
WWE backstage coming back before the Royal Rumble with Renee Paquette, Paige, and Booker T in their usual seats. A little bit surprising, in my opinion, but look, I'm not a fan of backstage. I'm gonna be honest with you. I like the shows that they're doing on the network now for the most part, at least Talking Smack. Backstage really didn't move my needle other than maybe the occasional CM Punk thing, but I don't know if this is a permanent thing or just a one-off for this or just for certain pay-per-views, but Renee Young / Paquette back in the fold here for a sec, Chris. Is that, although that might just be a Fox thing too, now that I think of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's the start of her getting reintroduced onto Raw and SmackDown on a regular basis. I think they're going to use her in this, like, pre-show TV sort of setting. And
well, she is pregnant. I don't think she'll be traveling anytime soon.
Yeah, also true. So, I mean, this may just be a one-off. You know, who knows? Might be a
new
while
talent signed. Priscilla Kelly, Cora Jade, and Lacey Ryan, who will all make their debuts in the Dusty Classic. Priscilla Kelly has been redubbed Gigi Dolan, and Elena Black is Cora Jade. They are currently, it appears, they're getting fed to Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae. they will be included in the next training class with Sari from Japan, Anthony Henry, formerly of Evolve, and AQA. So this is interesting because 2 of the 3 that are making their debut in the Dusty Classic, probably because they needed bodies, have been on AEW television. Yes, Priscilla Kelly, I don't believe, would be getting a contract given that she and Darby Allin are going through a rather contentious divorce right now, so I believe this is probably a good move for her. It's just interesting that AEW needs a little bit of depth in the women's division, and there's plenty of players out there, but they don't want to get a bloated roster either. So NXT is just going to be happy to take on some of the excess.
Yeah, no, but AEW also needs to be mindful to be acquiring people before WWE does their snatch them and leave them in the cooler play. Because that is, at least to my eye, what a lot of these WWE contracts for certain talent could be identified as. It's just about getting someone and putting them on ice so that AEW can't grab them and utilize them.
Yeah, I would not be shocked at all if I read tomorrow that NXT had signed Heather Monroe, Christy James, and Nicole Savoy, because they're out there and they've done work for AEW, but it's like, well, they didn't get a contract. Go where the contract is. I don't have a problem with that.
No, I don't have a problem with that. And if AEW wants to compete with WWE, and they do, this is going to be the way WWE throws its financial heft around.
AEW's Revolution pay-per-view is being moved. The Wrestling Observer has heard possible dates of either March 6th or March 7th at Daly's Place. Apparently, they're trying to avoid this February 27th boxing, and I put that in quotes, pay-per-view with Jake Paul, internet sensation, gonna get his butt kicked by an actual fighter. I believe that's Floyd. I believe it's Floyd Mayweather, but don't quote me on that.
He's boxing like Floyd Mayweather. Like
I think he's boxing Floyd Mayweather.
This is the thing about this carny boxing. I think is going to be my term for this. I think carny boxing might become like a halfway decent draw for about a year here. After that Tyson thing, people are into this. I don't know why, but it's like the Kimbo Slice thing. People are not looking for quality. They're looking for the freak show. They're looking for carny boxing.
Well, his last one did over 1 million buys.
This is where we're at as a people.
Yeah. Although Mike Tyson and Roy Jones was on that one too. So that might have been the draw versus Jake Paul and Nate Robinson, former New York Knick.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's who he boxed against. He boxed against Nate He knocked him out too.
He knocked him out. Yeah. Oh yeah.
He knocked him out real bad. Him. Yeah.
Look, it's not that because he's training. He's getting actual training. I'm not saying he doesn't have skills, but this is carny boxing. You're exactly right.
No, it's carny boxing. Yeah. But I mean, there's nothing. There's nothing wrong with that. When I was watching that with the lady friend, that was my commentary. I was like, this is a wrestling show. They're having entertainment and stuff. It reminded me a little bit of a Japanese wrestling show. A little bit, not Wrestle Kingdom, because Wrestle Kingdom's super well produced usually, or at least has been in years past.
Like the Tenru retirement show.
Yeah. We got musical interludes and stuff, and it's just on for 4 or 5 hours, and people like it. And you go, hey, remember when Mike Tyson did this? Member berries stuff. So you got a little bit of the carny thing and a little bit of member berries thing.
The Nyla Rose versus Layla Hirsch match scheduled for the January 20th show was canceled because Nyla Rose was exposed to someone positive for COVID and is going into quarantine for 14 days. That is why Layla Hirsch fought Penelope Ford on AEW this past Wednesday.
Interesting. I actually really liked that pairing.
I did too.
I think that visually it's good. Penelope Ford is a really great heel foil for Layla Hirsch's underdog. Because Hirsch is all grapply and using the hips and the lower center of gravity to throw you around and stuff, and she's working from underneath. Whereas Penelope Ford's all like cartwheely and flowy and stuff, and
She's all Flash.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. Like it's classic heel and babyface dynamic. No, that's interesting. Hirsch and Nyla Rose is not bad, but I really liked this pairing. It was fresh for me. I was into it.
Numbers from Wednesday: AEW 854,000, NXT 659,000. Ratings wise, everything got smoked by the inauguration. SmackDown continuing to overperform. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but they're over a million. I think they're 1.2, 1.3. And Raw's Raw. So
this is still long-term bad. The overall the Wrestling Industrial Composite Index, the wiki, if you will, it still continues to trend downwards. Like, certain components of the wiki flux from week to week here, but overall, viewership is down. And wrestling does depend on fans and the live experience and going to the show, and hopefully there'll be a snapback effect, or when things kind of really earnestly open up again, there can be this snapback effect. To that point, sometimes you have to have something go away for a while in order to really miss it to want to get back to it. But this long-term arc is bad, dude. And this was happening prior to COVID, which I think is the thing that gives me greatest pause.
I think it needs more quotable lines. I gotta be honest with you. I think that, to me, is what's missing and why the spark isn't there. They're relying on comedy sketches to get them there, and I'm not sure those are the types of moments that grow a fan base versus, The Rock just saying, "Shut up, bitch."
Yeah, no, and I mean, is he going to send you to the SmackDown Hotel, or him playing, Heartbreak Hotel and doing the Elvis covers and stuff? Like, no, that there is a bit of that. I think AEW as a show often relies on irony and meta awareness of the industry, and like kind of cheekiness in a way that it's hard to invest in. It's like fourth wall shattering.
We'll start on the wrestling in a second. I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, MyBookie. It's that time of year when divisions are decided, champions are crowned, and legends are born. It's time for the NFL playoffs. You've waited and watched all year as your team rose to the top, or in my case, fell to the bottom. Bengals suck. But now it's your turn to win big. You've heard the name just about everywhere, MyBookie. They're the industry's leading online sportsbook and casino, and it's not hard to understand why. With thousands of lines to bet on all your favorite sports, NFL, NBA, and college ball, check, check, and check. MMA and soccer, they've got all the latest odds, period. Take advantage of MyBookie's prop builder and live in-game betting, where every single run, throw, and touchdown is another chance for you to put cash in your pocket. Visit their mobile-friendly website today and get your deposit matched halfway up to $1,000. Just use the promo code ROPES, R-O-P-E-S, when you make your first deposit. The best part is that they make it simple with a variety of ways to deposit instantly, including credit card, bank transfer, Bitcoin. You got that Bitcoin moolah, just put it all in your MyBookie account, and more. Whether you're at home or on the go, on your laptop or on your phone, it's not too late to make your New Year's resolution a resolution to get paid. Bet, win, and get paid at MyBookie. Once again, the code ROPES, R-O-P-E-S. Get your deposit matched halfway up to $1,000, and we thank them, as usual, for sponsoring Shake Them Ropes. Chris, I said before the show, I found this to be a rather blasé week of wrestling, although SmackDown made some interesting choices. Where do we want to begin? Do we want to get the Wednesday night stuff out of the way?
Yeah, let's go once. Let's do Dynamite. We sort of already been talking a little bit about it. We can just finish it out.
Well, the painting was something.
See, that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about like the weird meta comedy stuff. So with the Omega and Bucks angle thing, Kenny is now being outshined by Don Callis, and like the story is quickly becoming Don Callis is essentially the champion, or like this is essentially the Don Callis title reign. in so many words. Like Kenny,
yeah, the story is obvious that Callis is trying to drive the wedge between everybody, so they're making it far more about Callis.
Right, because some of the writers are also vice presidents. What gets forgotten is that, like, for example, Kenny Omega's absolutely not sympathetic here. Like they're trying to make it. Callis is driving the wedge, but like Omega put his friend Michael Nakazawa in khakis and a polo shirt and made him, be like the working guy at Kenny Omega's house. And there are a number of other heelish things that Kenny Omega has done along the way here and in his heel turn leading up to challenging Jon Moxley, all of which were sans Don Callis at all, that do not earn him this, he's being manipulated thing. Because the story that was more kind of consistent is that Kenny has become a Mondo dick, and he's brought in his friend Don Callis, who furthers his Mondo dickness. But now we're pivoting it to Don Callis is manipulating Kenny.
Yeah, a lot of comedy on this show. We had that. We had the -1 birthday celebration.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. There was a lot of early 80s influences from professional wrestling on these shows, between a birthday celebration with a cake that a wrestler falls into, and then with Bayley's obstacle course challenge straight out of the Iron Sheik Persian Club challenge. There's a lot of homages to a little bit of old school in here, but you had the -1 celebration, and then you had the proposal that failed with Adam Page. I didn't mind.
So on one level, it's like, I like what we're doing for Mr. Brody Lee's kid. And part of me is able to put myself in this kid's shoes and kind of live the experience that the kid's living, of everyone's taking care of him and consoling him as he's getting through the loss of his father. And it makes for a pleasant, vicarious experience and an emotional one as well. Narratively, however, it has made everything the Dark Order does an absolute freaking mess. And as a faction, they have so many of the tropes of bad factions. Like, for example, people with nebulously defined gimmicks. What is Stu Grayson's gimmick at this point? What does he do? He's the guy in the leather jacket who dresses like Dean Ambrose used to dress back in WWE when he's copping the Bane look. You got the 10 guy who, it carries around -1. Evil Uno doesn't really lead the group. He's sort of the spokesperson of the group. They become the Monty Python Autonomous Collective or something like that. No one's really leading them. They just all take turns from week to week. There's too many members. They're not really heels. You almost feel bad for the faction when they're not able to recruit top babyface Adam Page. It's bad wrestling. But the stuff with Mr. Brody Lee's kid is nice and it's touching. And I kind of am
if
able to
only we
entertain.
could get the Dark Order going around like Monty Python's horses in Holy Grail.
I mean, they're always an undercard faction. So if all of the meta comedy that AEW wants to get in, and I get that so many of the executive vice presidents have this frustration that they're just yearning to get out on screen. If Dark Order was the vehicle for all of the meta comedy, and that's what they did, that's the whole point, and the rest of the show was a more serious product, it would be a better show, even with the exact same balance of meta comedy. Because the issue is that the meta comedy seeps into, again, with the Kenny Omega Don Callis thing, the main belt angle has meta comedy in it. That's bad. That is bad.
I don't disagree. Is it time for Chris Jericho to give up the lion salt?
Oh, no. You see, being out of shape is actually part of the gimmick here, Jeff.
Well, if you have COVID, you have a hard time getting your wind back, it turns out. So maybe he's just having a problem with his wind.
That's a conspiracy. I heard that on a great show called Talk is Jericho. But yeah, no. Look, it's important for one to know their limitations, or the flip of this is like Jericho has to take better care of himself, especially as he's getting older. Hopefully that was a wake up call, because yeah, like those moves, they don't get any easier as you get older, but they get particularly hard if you put on X amount of pounds and, you don't really kind of adapt to it. And he's been out of shape for a while.
With no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, banking with Capital One is like the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick. Sorry, kids.
Yep, even easier than that. And with our top-rated app, you can bank anytime, anywhere, making Capital One an even easier decision.
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
New consumer accounts only. Approval required. Terms apply. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
PPG, the paint pros know and have trusted for over 135 years, has added something new to the mix. An extended lineup of PPG products now at the Home Depot, like PPG Speed High, Multi-Pro, and Breakthrough. In stock, available for easy pickup. Or, to make things even better, we can deliver right to the job site. A new lineup of PPG products, ready to go, ready to work, available now from the Home Depot. How doers get more done. U.S. only.
I have no further thoughts on a lot of AEW. Do you have any?
I like how MJF is feigning sincerity, and I think that step backwards has continued to be nicely done. I'm looking. Kenny, like, locking Alex Marvez in the dungeon. Like, come on now.
Another 80s flashback, the Butler Charles.
Yes.
From Miro.
Yeah, but Miro's another reminder of like the meta comedy seeping into angles. Like here, it just continues to frustrate me. We talked about who's the most underutilized, and I think I went with Shayna Baszler last year, but like Miro's a real strong candidate for like underutilization of 2020, because he's just a total joke character. Making Chuck Taylor break up with Orange Cassidy, and Orange Cassidy has to walk away all despondent because they're not really friends anymore. Remember when this guy was a made man? That we're making him a star? Yeah?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
So was Bobo.
Yeah. Fuzzy memories. I kind of enjoyed the Peter Avalon versus Cody Rhodes match for what it was.
Yeah, a little bit more comedy with the not in the face, as if he's Arthur from Tick.
Yeah. No, I know, but like I liked him just doing the low blow and going full heel.
Yeah. I did. I liked that. I liked that match quite a bit.
I thought that was cool, and I liked the Moxley versus Nick Camarado match here too. That was cool,
dude. I had a thought about Nick Camarado. If Eric Bugenhagen, for some reason, could get released from WWE and go to QT Marshall's school, in 3 months. He'd be fighting for the TNT title if Nick Camarado is this good.
Yeah, no joke. Joke.
Yeah, I liked Camarado a lot. I like that look for professional wrestlers.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all I'm saying. And then I'm glad that Private Party is getting some flavor. That we're doing something a little bit different with them.
It's intriguing that they're going to be heel.
Yes.
Because they've always had that kind of cockiness to them. But you could never see a high-flying team like that be, other than, Jack Evans. But, I mean, being so young and wanting to be heels this quickly. But when you have a group like Top Flight in there who are they are Wonder Bread baby faces, man. So you have to have that kind of mirror image, evil. And I actually dug kind of the moment where they both just kind of agreed, yeah, we're heels. That nodding of the heads. I kind of dug.
No, I liked that. The match was a mess. I'm just gonna kind of be muted on this a little bit, but like, look, the gymnastics stuff, and we saw this a little bit with Reginald too. Like there's like the Undertaker, like Mark Calloway way he grumbles about gymnastics, but there is an absolutely valid criticism of the way certain matches are formatted, where it's like so many flippy-do things that it's absolutely implausible. Or, moreover, in the case of many of Top Flight sequences, they require so much athleticism that they do not get the precision that they need to look good on television.
I don't need All Japan guys throwing each other on their heads for 30 minutes, but I also just don't want the Waterworld stunt show from Universal Studios. You know, I just want to see a fight. I don't want to see flips and trapezes, and you know, there's a little bit of this in the Cat and Cesaro match. We'll get to it on Wednesday.
Reginald, I think, is like I know that part of this is the character that he's having to play right now, but like that guy, fantastic gymnast, but like the gymnastics he is doing is horrible professional wrestling.
Yeah, but I think that was also part of the.
Yes.
While we're in main roster territory, let's just shift to that then. I guess you could say the dawn of intergender wrestling has come to this generation.
I was thinking that too. It's like, are we really breaking the door down on intergender wrestling on the main roster with Sasha Banks and Reginald?
Not since James Ellsworth have we had this kind of... Although it's interesting because Kushida just tweeted, "Yeah, about that." when talking about intergender wrestling on Twitter, in terms of wanting to fight Sasha Banks, yeah, it's not my thing. I know people enjoy it, I get it, but it gets into the gymnastics thing versus fight thing. I'm slightly old-fashioned, so I'm slightly uncomfortable with the visual of it. Although in the '80s, you had certain spots where Baby Doll would hit a man, or Dusty Rhodes would elbow Baby Doll or something, so maybe I should get over that. But yeah, this was a chance for Reginald to flip all around, kind of play Angel Garza's. What's his name? Because he's not on TV anymore.
Humberto Carrillo, Dimples.
No, I was thinking Angel Garza with the rose and the kiss on the cheek.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking like Humberto Carrillo with all the crazy like corkscrew flip, like Matrix stuff that he was doing.
Yeah,
the Mission Impossible thing.
That. Yeah, no, but you're right. It's kind of a cross between what Garza and Carrillo do. And Sasha Banks gets a win over him. I like my seconds to be inept. I don't know why. I love, Cornette, Heyman, Bobby Heenan slipping around like a geek. That's what I kind of like.
Yeah, they should count as like 0.25 of a wrestler. Like they're what gives the heel the advantage, and 0.25 is usually enough to be the difference maker between that deficiency that if a heel's like a 0.95 to the babyface is 1. 0.25 gives him the edge, but that 0.25 has to stay on the outside of the ring. I like that. Reginald is like, I don't know, I guess a good wrestler, I guess. But like also the other problem with this match is you can almost see all the weird WWE rules that were like forced into both Sasha and Reginald's head of like, you can't body slam her ever. So like all of these moves have to like result in her doing these ridiculous and sometimes reversals that they were not on the same page about doing. And Reginald, to his credit, is very good about stopping mid-move and figuring out where they're going. He's got some control.
Yeah, Charlotte's an absolute jerk as a babyface. Can we just say that on both shows? It's like you're the good guy, and you're hanging on to a figure 4 way too long on Peyton. You're beating up Billy Kay on SmackDown. I don't get that. They never do any shades of nuance with this character. She's always just Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, no, and Charlotte Flair, like, she's like a snowplow, man. It's just straight ahead, and everyone has to get out of her way.
Yeah, although, God bless Asuka. I don't think she knows where she is half the time. She's just gonna dance and be crazy. And great. Alexa Bliss, speaking of Asuka, channeling her inner Hawk from the Road Warriors. Just a no-selling machine all of a sudden, this transformation. Asuka has to play scared. Don't get me wrong. I think I think Alexa Bliss is a pretty good actress. for a wrestler. I gotta admit, she does great character stuff. But now that she's possessed, she's taking down Asuka a peg. Okay.
This is like what was happening with Abaddon and Hikaru Shida a few months ago on AEW television. And it's actually an interesting analog. And in both cases, you were having the scenario of the champion, who is very likely to remain champion too, being knocked down a peg in a weird way. Because like Crazy Asuka, like the whole thing with her is like nothing should really freak her out because like she's crazy. Like that's kind of her thing.
She's
like,
crazy, but she's also bad. And that,
right.
And, it should phase her to,
right.
She's bulletproof. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, do I want to see Alexa Bliss no selling for Asuka? Not really.
No, and if you want to build up this new Alexa Bliss feels no pain character, a much better way of doing this is having her have a match against Tamina. And, out comes Tamina, and Tamina's getting ready to have a match against Alexa Bliss, and, she's the daughter of Jimmy Superfly Snuka, she's tough, she's Samoan, blah, blah, blah. Out comes Alexa Bliss, and Tamina kind of has, like, a, confident sneer on her face, comes in with one, like, axe handle smash, and Alexa Bliss starts no-selling. I think that's an equally powerful visual, and you're not moving immediately to Asuka selling this.
I have nothing else on Raw, so I'll just get to my other stuff on SmackDown. Daniel Bryan continues his 2014 Vanity Federation, and I'm for it, between Cesaro and Dolph and Sammy. That moment where Cesaro's saying, I can say it in French, and then he turns to Sammy and goes, no one wants to hear from you. That killed me. I enjoy the parts that Daniel Bryan gets to control.
Yeah, no, I think Daniel Bryan continues to be part of why SmackDown is very watchable. It's an easy watch. Watching him and Cesaro and Nakamura and Dolph Ziggler, like these are guys I like to watch wrestle, and it's a reminder. You think about AJ Styles and yes, even Ricochet on the other show. There are a number of people who I like to watch wrestle. And if Daniel Bryan had his own little vanity show that he could book, I bet you would probably do pretty good numbers.
The Aunt Pam Physical Challenge was everything a professional wrestling segment like this was supposed to be.
This is good wrestling comedy. I thought this was funny.
In a way. I can see why people would be annoyed because they go to this trope way too often. But I EST'd the obstacle course for you. Perfect heel stuff. Otis having to be fireman carried, and let me tell you, that was impressive. Bianca Belair is a damn impressive athlete. And always, I was a little worried for Bayley because it looks like she might have hurt herself on the tire because they had to bleep out a swear word of hers when she sent down old Chad Gable. I was a little scared for her to finish the course, but of course, when everything's done, just a good old fashioned basketball to the gut and a beat down and getting thrown into the hoop. I'm for this. I was fine with it.
Here's why I think this was. Yes, it had a lot of the WWE tropes, but these were done well and in service of Bianca's sort of kind of inversion of the old Mr. Perfect character. I liked when the course got EST'd up, it allows Bianca to showcase her actual physicality. I mean, you see her clear those hurdles, and they're good and clean hurdles. And then when she actually does the bigger ones, the ones made out of wood, that was impressive. And yeah, dude, carrying Otis, there's no smoke and mirrors there. She just straight up carried Otis. So I felt like it did a really good job getting Bianca over on a serious level, while also being funny. And also getting this Bayley delusional character is fun, and that's what it's meant to be.
The walls spot is, I think, what got me. Where it's even Corey's going, she's taking a lot of time here, and then all she does is run around the wall, and nobody complains. The clock stops when she finishes the obstacle course, as if this was okay. It was that little subtle piece of, oh, get the F out of here. type of thing that just kind of made me love its unrepentant stupidity of it.
Yeah. It's just stupid fun. That's all I'm saying.
NXT UK, combining two of my favorite things in the world, Chris.
Joseph Connors and Ginny.
Well, I was going to say redheads and snarky women of certain ethnicities. I liked the Kaylee Ray Ginny match. I just don't understand why this was the finale, it seemed, because you had all the women watching out in the crowd. It made it feel like it was a reboot. And I think there was on social media, there was an interesting vignette. They didn't play this on the show, I don't think, of Kaylee Ray coming out of the office and saying, there's other people in the world I need to face. I think Kaylee Ray is coming over to NXT.
I would like to see her over on NXT. I mean, Kaylee Ray is a fun character.
Yes.
She's like a Becky Lynch with more edge. Like a more natural heel Becky Lynch, but she also does work as a face because she's just got so much swagger.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I wasn't sure if she was going to work as a babyface after being such a great heel.
I know, but she showed me enough here in this Ginny match where I'm like, no, she's got edge. She's cool.
She's got that kind of stone cold edge. And I think you nailed it. It's the edge Becky Lynch wanted.
Yes. Yeah, because Kaylee Ray is rougher around the edges. But, like, I'm saying that in a very desirable... It's because she's authentically rough around the edges, and that's great.
Yeah, and I like Ginny as kind of this top-level heel in the division. I don't like Joseph Connors. I've already said that.
Stop that. Stop. He's doing his best work. He's trying his best. He is worthy.
You've turned on Joseph Connors.
I know, I love him. He's a better version of Reginald.
Oh. Can he do flips?
Yes!
No, he can't.
Yes, he can. Yes, he can.
Ginny is appropriately vicious in her offense. I was kind of thinking they might put the belt on her and just send Kaylee Ray over here to the States to work whatever show she wants. Because I'd love to see her and Sasha, quite frankly.
That'd be fun. Yeah.
That'd be a fun pairing as opposed to this Carmella pairing, which I've seen it. And I don't think Carmella's going to do better than she's done against Sasha.
I thought Carmella did fine, but I thought Carmella needed to go over her.
Oh, wow.
No, seriously. I like the repackaging of Carmella. I
do too. I think the repackaging...
I think that the gimmick doesn't work if it doesn't have the belt.
The Fight Pit. I love that Tim Thatcher has his own gimmick match. I think that helps the character, much like back in the day, and I'm going to use a politically incorrect term here, so I apologize in advance, but Wahoo McDaniel and the Indian strap match went hand in hand. It was his bread and butter. It was his gimmicky match.
I always associated that with Hulk Hogan, the Yappa Pie strap match, brother.
You shut your whore. You... No. No. I like this match. You know what it feels like to me? It feels like they've tried to find a way around the terribleness of the scaffold match that the NWA used to do.
Yeah, this is like a reverse scaffold match, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like the scaffold's on the outside.
Because the structure was so rickety that you couldn't do wrestling moves on it. It looks like they were trying to find a way to combine a cage match and a scaffold match. And I didn't quite understand, and I guess I just haven't watched the other Fight Pit matches in so long. Why don't they just climb down and start the match there? And then if they need to do a high spot, they can do a high spot. But
that's what they did differently this time. Like this time they really featured the idea that there's a second tier to the Fight Pit that climatically it should go there. But like with the Riddle and Thatcher Fight Pit match, it was presented much more like a UFC style match. And though they did go off the top at some point during that match, it was intended as an in the pit style of match. And that was a difference in the presentation from this time to last time that I'm sort of ambivalent on. I think it makes sense, as you're saying, If you need to climb up to do a high spot to finish out the match, that's great. Starting the match on the top of the scaffold is stupid. Like, why would they ever go into the pit?
Yeah. Unless you gotta do that. Unless you gotta do that 20-foot fall, and I don't wish that on anybody, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous. And like, that's also, to your point about Thatcher, that's not Thatcher's gimmick. Thatcher's gimmick is not the guy who falls from high places. Thatcher's gimmick is like, I'm a tough guy who grinds you on the mat. And in the fight pit, there's not even ropes, man. It's just all mat wrestling.
Yeah, I agree. It was an interesting match.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't my favorite of the fight pit matches, but I didn't dislike it.
And we have another mutual respect tag team to match our tag team champions in Tommaso Ciampa and Tim Thatcher, as they will be in the Dusty Classic, it appears.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to reuse this gimmick, though, so soon after doing Birch and Lorcan. And also Finn and Kyle O'Reilly, it looks like. You see, they're repeating this over and over and over again. I'm not sure it's cool. Much like I don't want... You had two underdog tag team stories in the Rough Kushida match, and then also in the Catanzaro, Caden Carter versus Tony and Mercedes Martinez matches. So it appears that there's a lot of patterning going on, and I don't care for that. I want different.
Yeah. So the booking patterns I was not crazy about. And I'm with you. Like, there's a lot of, like, sort of, there's a lot of tropes in the booking patterns that are frustrating. Like, Leon Ruff and Kushida are frustrating because it's like two guys you've seen just absolutely mismanaged as characters. I'm not, like, super sold on Leon Ruff, but, like, Kushida's absolutely misused. And Leon Ruff, like, that North American title run did him so dirty. That did him no favors whatsoever. And Karrion Kross versus Ashanti the Adonis, I thought was fine.
It was a squash match. It's what I want, and I think it's going to open the door for your theory from last week about Kyle O'Reilly and Finn getting into the Dusty turn.
Yeah.
I think you nailed that. I think it's obvious that we're either going to have a three-way for those tag team titles eventually with the Undisputed Era, O'Reilly and Finn, and Lorcan and Birch, or we're going to the finals of the Dusty Cup with the Undisputed Era having to take on Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor.
Yeah, I could see that.
Did you like the Carter Catanzaro match with Storm and Mercedes?
I thought that Carter and Catanzaro looked the best that they have looked, and I thought that I thought Carter was a very good hot tag.
Yeah, I think Catanzaro had some issues with some of her gymnastics, like that spinning into Hurricane Rana. I know Io's crazy, and I know they're trying to find a way out of explaining how you give the loss to
beating Tony Storm and Mercedes Martinez super clean.
But I think you should beat them super clean to give the underdog tag team the victory.
Yeah, so the flip of this is afterwards, backstage, they're dancing around elated like they really did something. And it's like, did Casey and Caden not see that Io Shirai showed up and basically helped them win the match?
Yeah, and that's why I start to doubt whether or not they go all the way. I think
yeah.
I think there's gonna be Shotzi and Ember in the finals, probably. Yeah. I liked the tag match, though. I would agree. I think I've seen smoother work from them as a team in terms of team offense, but overall, I thought it wasn't too bad of a match, to be honest.
Look, Casey Catanzaro is very dependent on the gymnastics and stuff too. Obviously, she's finding her step here as the little underdog in a tag team, though. I think that works. And God, how many rotations did she do off the top rope? That was crazy.
Yeah, that
I
had
to
rewind
nuts.
that a couple times. I was like,
I know. I watched that, and we glossed by it, but the Styles Clash that Ricochet and AJ pulled off. Was
God,
really dope.
yes,
that was awesome.
Yes. Oh, I had in my notes here and I forgot to say it. Yes, that is. You remember how we'd always they'd always have different ways of Randy hitting the RKO,
or Diamond Dallas Page would have a number of different cool finishes for the Diamond.
I'm wondering
cutter.
how many they could do of these, but that was the most impressive thing I've seen from AJ in years. Although it totally it totally just says that Ricochet is a geek.
Yeah, right. Oh no,
I mean, that big. I'm gonna win my way into the Royal Rumble. Nope.
Well, even the whole set, him like bouncing off, the whole context of how you end up in the Styles Clash makes Ricochet the character look like a total nerd. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. I didn't. Have we already dumped down Malcolm Bivens and is it Tyler Rust?
Tyler Rust? No, let's give this time. Let's give this time. The first week here, my read of this is that Rust was still kind of a babyface, and it's not unlike the Matt Hardy private party thing where Bivens has to show him the Malcolm Bivens way. So I suspect Bivens will help Rust by cheating here, and will establish Rust as a heel. So give it time.
Okay. No, I'm fine with that. I liked the story though. I liked that.
I like it too.
I felt so confident. I made my own match with Bronson Reed, and now I'm gonna now you learned your lesson. You don't. It's an interesting way to gaslight somebody.
You know, the writers on SmackDown liked it a lot too. That's why they decided to just use it again tonight with Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio.
Oh, number one. I was surprised that the Knights weren't there with Corbin.
I know. Where are the Forgotten Knights? The Knights of Forgotten.
The Knights of Forgotten. But then when Owens came out to attack Roman Reigns during that thing, I thought that was one of the Knights because he was dressed the same. I was like, oh man, that's what's his face who used to tag with Buddy Murphy.
And Bronson Reed, I think, Bronson Reed continues to make nice steps forward. He seems very confident in his character, dude. And the top rope splash looks great.
Oh no, he's great. They just should never beat him on his return. No.
Hyping
him. They were hyping him up, and then they just bring him in and they beat him clean as a sheet. I was like, are you kidding me? That's the Tyrus thing that they did. Like,
yeah.
You remember they were he's a monster. Oh, look at him. He's
yes.
just,
I'm not a Funkasaurus. I'm not a Funkasaurus.
Well, no. And then they debut him as the Funkasaurus, and he comes out. We're just like, what? Yeah. Oh, they're going to make him the Funkasaurus, though, aren't they?
Oh, God.
He's going to be a Funkasaurus character. If they ever put him in the main roster.
I liked next match here, Imperium versus Lucha House Party. Like, this is I think, I didn't realize it until about midway through the match. And I almost kind of want to rewatch it. This is the Lucha House Party that you and I expect out of Lince Dorado and Gran Metalik, two of the best Lucha Libre stars. And like Lince Dorado continues, in my opinion, to be heinously underutilized. He's very talented.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah,
him and Metalik.
Yeah.
That match that Metalik had to get the title match, and then he eventually had the title match with Miz, I think it was.
Yes, yeah. That's right. No, I mean. No, they're both exceptional, but yeah, like Lindsay's charismatic. I like him a lot.
And here's the shame of it: they had this great match to set them up to get beat by Legado del Fantasma by a screw job in some way, and that's gonna be the shame. Although up until that final moment when Santos Escobar interferes, it's gonna be a hell of a match.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, I okay.
Because I love Raul Mendoza. I think. Joaquin Wilde has yet to show what he's made of here, but I think he could in this match. I'm kind of looking forward to it, even though I already know what's going to happen.
I got a prediction for that match. Then we'll see if it comes true. I think.
You think the Lucha House Party is going to have another round?
I think Kalisto shows up and screws over Lince and Gran Metalik and joins Legado
in NXT.
Yeah, why not?
Oh, it's interesting because they accidentally brought up Kalisto, who is no longer part of the Lucha House Party, but he's persona non grata on whatever. I don't even know what brand he's on. That's how sad I am. Do you know what brand Kalisto is on right now?
I've got a 50-50 chance. I'm going to say
I
NXT, NXT UK.
Oh, shut.
I don't know, Raw?
I'm going to look it up. Hold on. Kalisto, wrestler. He performs under the SmackDown brand.
Kalisto's on the SmackDown brand.
So yeah, no, that's interesting. So does he unmask?
Oh, I guess
your
you
scenario?
are. I guess you are required to do that. He is already wearing like the fedoras and the bowlers and stuff when you see him backstage. So maybe
We have mini Los Ingobernables de NXT.
I honestly, I think it actually gives Legato a little bit more flavor to play around with here. And also it establishes some tiers because Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wilde really are like, it's like they could use a lieutenant.
Yeah, I just want to see them actually grow in the role as opposed to always being flunkies.
Yeah, okay, so like beyond all that, like, man, isn't Santos Escobar like an absolute money performer? Like he's so good at like all of the things. He's a good promo.
That promo wasn't good in terms of substance, but in terms of delivery, it was fantastic.
And English is his second language. Like, it's crazy, dude. He's so talented.
Like
I've been on this dude.
No,
I've been on this dude for years, man. He's awesome.
Yeah, he's everything they want. Well, actually, you know what he is? He's everything that Almas was when he was in NXT.
Promo that Almas was. Remember Almas? The whole knock on Almas is that Almas didn't want to spend the time learning English.
Yeah, I guess you're right on that.
Yeah, that was Meltzer and all those guys were reporting that back in the day. As Almas was not interested in doing that, and like I'm not saying that he needs to do that as like a value judgment. I'm saying that WWE as an employer values those sorts of things, and if you don't do that, we know how your career tends to arc in WWE.
Imperium loses. I'm quite sad about this.
Yeah, fine.
But the story,
to
me, is that Alexander Wolf shows up. I want to call him Axel Dieter, but that's not his name here. Both Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel shape up in the salute. I think Walter's coming.
Yeah.
I think this is I think Alexander Wolf is the Clarion, and he's coming to announce that the band's getting back together in NXT, and Walter's on his way. I think for a special appearance.
I'm here for Walter versus Finn Balor. I'm here for Walter versus Kyle O'Reilly. I'm here for Walter versus Adam Cole. There are any number of, if you want to do an NXT UK title defense and have like Adam Cole go up against Walter, that'll be dope. If you want to have NXT UK champion versus Finn Balor, that'll be dope. If you want to have O'Reilly go up against Walter, that'll be great. There's any number of cool matches that you can do with Walter, and Walter's just been killing it.
Yeah, we might get a couple weeks of, Alexander Wolf putting them through their paces and getting them back hardcore. But I'd like to see a reestablishment of Imperium as a force in NXT. I really would.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, that gives Undisputed Era another cool faction to, feud around with if they want to feud a little bit more with the Imperium. It would actually be a lot of fun to watch Imperium feud with the For the Brand guys, Dunn and McAfee and all of them. And McAfee talking about how like he loves the sport way more than Imperium does. McAfee
I find this match more sacred than you. Yeah.
Yes. No, I'm sorry. McAfee baby facing Imperium for an angle would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that would. Really would. Any other thoughts on NXT?
Man, they made a really big deal of Beth Phoenix coming back to ringside.
Yeah, she had been doing shows from North Carolina. And it makes the play-by-play a little easier, I think. I did like the little drop that because Bayley was at the Performance Center for the Dusty Classic. And I do think she was trying to say, hey, wouldn't it be great if I do a cameo today? I would not be shocked if that story about her trying to get Beth Phoenix as a partner was true. I would not be that surprised.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised with that. And I don't think there's anything else. That's all I got.
And then we had the I did like the way that they did the Finn Balor barging into the locker room vignette. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, no, I love I think that the UE guys have fun chemistry. They're
not exactly
this.
Heels anymore, but they're not exactly baby faces either.
No,
I kind of dig that.
Yeah, and Balor's the same way, where it's like Balor's his own. He says he sees enemies everywhere, but he's his own worst enemy, and you kind of sympathize with that. But he's also not fully sympathetic.
Yeah, it's like a cowboy movie where everybody has kind of like various moralities.
Yeah, but this is like Shades of Grey in a good way.
How dare you? I love Cal.
But remember when McMahon was trying to do Shades of Grey as like an actual
we have
concept?
Shades of Grey on SmackDown, actually. That's done pretty well because you had Dolph and Cesaro fighting each other the week after Cesaro beat Daniel Bryan. I thought that was kind of cool that Dolph goes, oh, well, you think you're the best? I'm the best. And it was kind of, there wasn't like the mustache twirling or anything. It's just two cocky guys decide to fight each other. Okay. Well, that's all the time we're going to give to this week. You can follow me at CrapGame13. You can follow only the show at Shake Them Ropes. You can follow Chris at DWATG. You can put a little buck in the tip jar in our webpage at Red Circle or our Patreon, patreon.com/ShakeThemRopes. Dormant but not dead.
Yeah, tell us what you want in terms of premium content, and we'll get something up there. Yeah, no,
I want something classic. I'm gonna need it after this weekend because I'm working all weekend.
If y'all sub up on the Patreon, tell us what you want for Patreon content. We will make Patreon content. We'll sort of make it to order.
Once again, thank you to my bookie for sponsoring the show. Chris, tell them about Don't Worry About the Government.
Don't Worry About the Government is celebrating episode 500. Wrong as hell. For over 500 episodes now, as Hawkins is fond of reminding me. You can find the show over at don'tworry.tv, on iTunes, on Stitcher, on Spotify, and at patreon.com/DWATG.
Bobo, say goodbye.
It's a new year, and with T-Mobile, it's not about how far apart we are. It's about how close we can be. So we're bringing out our best deal. Right now, get the iPhone 12 on us on every single plan with eligible iPhone trade-in.
So I can FaceTime with my sister in Savannah.
That's right, the iPhone 12 on us on every plan. All on America's 5G leader in coverage. T-Mobile.
With 24 monthly bill credits and a new line plus tax. If you cancel, credit stop and balance on required finance agreement may be due. Contact us for well-qualified buyers. Qualifying consumer plan required. See coverage and offer details at T-Mobile.com.
PPG, the paint pros know and have trusted for over 135 years, has added something new to the mix. An extended lineup of PPG products now at the Home Depot, like PPG Speed High, Multi-Pro, and Breakthrough. In stock, available for easy pickup. Or, to make things even better, we can deliver right to the job site. A new lineup of PPG products, ready to go, ready to work, available now from the Home Depot. How doers get more done. U.S. only.